With the new How to Train Your Dragon live-action remake making headlines, with it being one of the best ever adaptations of an animated movie, we now have to decide on whether this franchise or the one of Game of Thrones has the better looking CGI dragons. While this one might be a subjective decision, there is one other thing that can be assessed to be objective, and that is which one has more powerful dragons. To be more precise, can Toothless, the Night Fury, take on the different dragons of the show of House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones? And if so, how do these dragons from Westeros compare against the Night Fury? Let's begin! Physically, the dragons of Westeros are monsters of raw power, and the bigger they become, the stronger they are. They are also really intelligent creatures with a connection to magic and their riders. They're also like wild apex predators, smart enough to find food, remember places and fight in battles, but also independent, aggressive, and very hard to control. As for speed, it kinda varies a lot. Younger dragons are more nimble, while older ones are slower. However, Meleys, the Red Queen, being in her prime and having a robust build, was the fastest dragon. Her top speed was, as we have estimated in a previous video, would be anywhere between 250 to 500 km per hour, or under 300 miles an hour. Caraxes, Moon Dancer and the other medium ones would also come close to her, but they won't be as fast or as agile. These dragons of A Song of Ice and Fire are huge. They're like flying lizards on steroids. Some like Balerion and Vhagar are well more than 200 to 300 feet long, while younger ones would be anywhere between 50 and 150 feet. They have long snake-like bodies, a woven form, with big wings instead of forearms, and shorter legs kinda like a bat. Their teeth and claws are sword length, and their bodies are covered in tough, scaly armor. In House of the Dragon, older dragons like Vhagar can shoot fire that melts steel, melts stone and causes explosions. They are so powerful that they can destroy castles and wipe out entire armies. The older the dragon, the hotter and more devastating their fire becomes. As for defense, they're incredibly tough to kill, especially when they're older and armored with thick, mature scales. Arrows and spears would hurt smaller specimens but do nothing to older dragons. And while they do breathe fire, they're not completely fireproof, but rather fire-resistant to a point, despite being fire-breathing monsters. Their scales are like natural armor, resisting their own fire and most others. However, they can still be hurt, especially by extreme fire sources like wildfire, or in rare cases, their own fire breath if something goes wrong, or in a battle against other dragons, where their wing membranes can be burnt off and their scales turn to charcoal-like substances. We saw this in House of the Dragon, when Meleys was fighting both Sunfire and Vhagar. Meleys was able to burn Caraxes to a crisp, and Vhagar returned that favor. So in a nutshell, these dragons vary in strength, size, speed and experience, but they all are still very powerful. And in terms of How to Train Your Dragon, these would all be classified as Stoker-class dragons. Now shifting to How to Train Your Dragon, the contender from this world is the Night Fury, Toothless. Size-wise, he is considered a medium-sized dragon there, but in House of the Dragon he'd be a small dragon, measuring only 26 to 28 feet long, with a wingspan of around 50 feet. While not a towering beast in any way, Toothless' smaller frame actually works in his favor, giving him unmatched agility and speed in the skies. He can reportedly fly at speeds breaking the sound barrier, but that is still debatable, although we have estimated his climbing speed, his cruising speed and his dive speed in the fight with the Red Death, and they come in at 100 km per hour climbing maximum, between 150 to 200 km per hour in cruising, and could go up with top speed, and between 300 to 500 km per hour in a dive. That is with Hiccup on his back, but without the rider, and with his tail fin intact, he might be able to double those speeds, and could in fact break the sound barrier in a straight dive in the colder regions of the Nordic places. His primary weapon isn't traditional fire, it's plasma bolts and blasts. These are concentrated bursts of superheated plasma, which are estimated to reach temperatures beyond 3000 degrees Celsius, making them far more dangerous than ordinary dragon fire. These blasts are explosive, powerful enough to obliterate stone towers, and highly accurate over long distances. When Toothless enters his alpha mode, the power and frequency of these blasts increase even further, allowing him to strike quickly and repeatedly while maintaining speed and maneuverability in the air. Toothless is also highly intelligent, being maybe even the smartest dragon. He works closely with his rider Hiccup, forming a seamless tactical duo. Their bond allows them to fight as a coordinated team, making decisions on the fly, exploiting enemy weaknesses and adapting strategies mid-battle. Then lastly, his scaly skin is another important factor. It is highly durable and near fireproof, allowing him Toothless to shrug off fire attacks like nothing, including those from other dragons. While he is not invulnerable to fire, his natural defenses make him very tough to take down in a fight, particularly from ranged attacks or flames. The Night Fury would have a considerable edge over most dragons from Westeros due to a combination of superior speed, agility, advanced weaponry, his plasma blasts, and high intelligence, and also, I might add, a lot of experience, because he has been in innumerable fights over the long years. Anyway, his most significant advantage, however, lies in his speed, which is many times those of the dragons of Westeros, but maybe only rivaled by Melee's, the Red Queen. His weakness is getting in a close quarters combat scenario with the larger specimens, although he was seen to be able to handle the situation against the bigger monstrous terror, the Whispering Death, and the Triple Strike. Anything larger than them would have been quite a challenge or downright impossible or too strong to overcome. If it were the show's take on Daenerys' dragons of the last season, Drogon, Rhaegal, and Viserion, then Toothless would be torn to shreds in melee. But his fighting style is kinda like that of a stealth jet, fast, agile, and incredibly precise with weapons, allowing him to dodge fire blasts and flank enemy dragons before they can react. His main weapon, as we have said, are the plasma bolts, which gives him a great edge in stunning dragons on low power and even killing them with powerful blasts. These concentrated bolts of superheated plasma are far more destructive than conventional dragon fire. One was able to knock off the Red Death from its feet in the very first movie, a 400 feet long dragon bigger than Balerion. A few could tear holes through the wing membranes, and a highly charged one was able to break off the tusk of a bewilderbeast in the second movie, an even larger dragon, a title-class Leviathan. That means the plasma bolts, or blasts, have the power to break the bones of lesser dragons with ease. He can also fire them from a great distance and with sniper-like accuracy, and also in a dive-bombing style. On top of this, supposedly, if he were to be hit by Dragon Flame of the Westerosi dragons, the fire would hurt, but it wouldn't be a kill shot. Being agile, he would quickly get away from reach. On top of that, he also possesses strong fire-resistant and, might I say, fireproof scales, meaning that the standard fire breaths from dragons like Drogon or Caraxes wouldn't really harm him unless they scored a direct hit at very close range and for a sustained period of time. When it comes to matchups, Toothless would easily defeat smaller or less experienced dragons like Drogon, Rhaegal, Viserion from the books, also Arax, Vermax, Syrax, Moondancer, Seasmoke, and other smaller ones like Tyraxes. These dragons are either very young, less experienced, or physically smaller and slower, making them very vulnerable against Toothless' powerful plasma attacks. Even Caraxes the Bloodworm, who is considered fast and strong for a Westerosi dragon, would struggle to keep up. Though Caraxes is aggressive and agile, his serpentine frame presents many vulnerable points that Toothless could exploit from a distance. His agility and ranged plasma strikes will likely keep him out of range of the Bloodworm's reach long enough to wear him down and tear a new one in Caraxes. But a bigger threat comes from melees who might actually keep up with the Night Fury in cruising speeds. But then again, without a melee scenario, the fight would again go to Toothless for his plasma attacks. But if Caraxes or melees gets their claws or jaws on Toothless, then it's likely game over for the Night Fury. Now against larger dragons like Silverwing, Vermithor, Meraxes, and Vhagar, the threat level would rise up even more in melee. Immense in size, armored in thick scales, and experienced in warfare, these would be a nightmare for Toothless to bring down. Though Toothless would have the speed advantage to avoid most attacks, the sheer blast radius of their Stoker-type fire, and the risk of being caught in a powerful physical strike would make this a very high-risk battle. If he were to be careless, like Arax in the first season of House of the Dragon, then Vhagar or any of the larger dragons would simply be able to deliver a same ending to him, like how Vhagar did to Arax, crushing the little dragon into bits. But still, Toothless might still win, with precise hit-and-run tactics, but any mistake would likely be fatal. Vhagar, Vermithor, and the like would not be able to keep up and thus would have to wait and make ambush attacks. It's like, a sumo wrestler fighting a fast ninja. The ninja could take out the sumo, but he would need to evade and make multiple strikes. But one misstep, then into the jaws of the giants he'd find his fate. Then against Balerion the Black Dread, the fight would be similar to the one against the Red Death. Without hiccup, the weather conditions, and being able to blend into the night, Toothless might not be able to do much. In his young form, he might even lack the firepower to bring down the beasts the Black Dread. But with that said, in his Titan Wing form, Toothless might be able to deliver a powerful enough blast, a plasma shot, to kill the Black Dread, or at least render him incapacitated to fight. Because remember that even Drago's Bewilderbeast, who was 647 feet in size and way more massive than Balerion, maybe 3 to 5 times more massive, was defeated, and even it couldn't fend off that massive plasma blast that took down one of its tusks. And that says a lot, doesn't it? Now that is the comparison between Toothless and the House of the Dragons. If you like this video, then watch this other one too, and do check out our channel for other dragon content. We might have things you haven't seen before. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, fam.